Oh man, guys, it is, it's fun being under the thumb of government. It's great. I recommend it. I recommend everybody try it. Bible streams, people think that I'm speaking authoritatively or even definitively on the Bible, and it's like, no, I'm just reading and exploring this text that I find wildly interesting, that my faith and large chunk of my life is based around. You should probably read this thing and think about it. And people are like, oh my God, he's telling people exactly what to think. It's like, no, it's the opposite. It's the actual opposite. So I'm going to do a whole lot more of it. Because the amount of unbridled, retarded autism that comes out of it is actually delicious. Oh man. I am waiting. I'm just waiting for these cases to progress. That's one of the worst parts about being in the system. Alright? One of the worst parts of being in the system is you have to wait for the system sometimes. And once you get to a certain spot, you're like, well, I want to, I don't want to wait now. Now I want to fight. I want to go do the things that need to be done and get it over with. But you have to wait for government. And the real frustrating things about court is trying to get a court date. There's a trade-off spot where once you get to a certain spot, even if you wanted to, if I wanted to file a motion today in my criminal case, do something, getting a motion hearing date would be well past my existing omnibus date. So you just have to wait for the omnibus date. Now some people do, and I appreciate the shit out of it. There's a bunch of people who've stuck by me through all of this, and they said, hey, well, I believe in these principles or whatever, and or they're like, I know you, and I don't think this is whatever. That's great. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. But I don't ask anybody to do that. And in fact, I've spent so much time telling people, hey, you don't get to hear my side of the story because I have these limitations, and that's fine. That means I can't really be mad at you if you decide I'm a dirtbag. I hope you don't think I'm a dirtbag and you give me the benefit of the doubt, but I can't fault people for doing it because I'm not telling you my side of the story. I'm opting to bring my side into the courthouse rather than the court of social media. And as I've said a billion times, that comes with a huge trade-off. I can't expect people to accept the story I'm not telling. I said, I hope they'll wait. I hope people will reserve judgment and keep an open mind and let the legal process play out. But that's a hope. And as it gets closer to you, right, and people know you better and stuff like that, you go, dude, I didn't do this thing, that thing, whatever. That's not right. You know me, you know my character. And it gets frustrating when people who do know your character, ignore that. And they go, well, I thought I knew or whatever. It's like, well, why don't you let me have a chance to be proven guilty or not guilty? But you still can't be mad if you don't tell the story. And that's what I said from the beginning. It's it's frustrating. It is really frustrating when people just create whole cloth lies about you. But again, it's just frustrating. And the answer is address it. And it's well, I can address that lie or this thing, but then I have other risks that go along with addressing something. So part of it is just sitting around waiting, saying, well, I get to at some point try and deal with this. But until then, people make up their decisions. So I appreciate people who, again, stick by me. I don't begrudge people who think I'm garbage. Some of it's a little hyperbolic, okay, but that's fine. That's the way it goes. What do you think about the people that are saying Keanu and Chrissy are nose guarding for me? I don't care what people say. If people ask me to come on a show and I can, I try to do it. Same as before. That's never changed. I told one of my friends today, they're like, I'm waiting for things to kind of just resolve. I'm waiting for things to resolve and whatever. And I said, good. I'm very toxic. Don't subject yourself to my aura or whatever. Because people go after people who have me on their show. And it's like, well, I mean, I guess, but it's not their fault. Like, they didn't do anything. If you hate what I did, like, that's fine. But they didn't do anything. They're like, you can't let that guy talk. It's like, well, okay, I guess. But I don't want people to, like, go out on a limb or defend me or anything like that. I really, why bother? But as for, like, Keanu and Chrissy, anyone who thinks Keanu is nose guarding probably hasn't been paying attention much, because I don't... Just because Keanu stopped, like, for a while, I guess she was, like, really kind of dumping on me or whatever, which, again, perfectly fine. I actually said that to her. Was like, look, I'm not going to ask you to not hate me. You don't take my word for it. Why would you? You don't know me. Or whatever. I said that to her in DMs, which I'm pretty sure were revealed. But that being said, she was very critical of me for a while. I think she became less critical, but not because she's like running defense for me. I don't think that's happening. But you know, maybe she is. I don't know. But I don't think that isn't accurate of what I've seen of Keanu. But if she is nose guarding, thank you. I am Goliath and David is dangerous. Do I have my kids back yet? Very soon. Very soon. Like, well, I hesitate to say dates, but we'll say within less than 2 weeks. How's that? Kids will be home in less than 2 weeks. So, again, I know there's this like wonderful theory that I did all these horrible things or whatever, but it's just not true. I'm sorry. I tried to explain like the aspects of Minnesota law and why people are seeing certain things that don't go with my narrative or whatever. And it's like, this is just how the process works, and it's a highly specialized area. I don't practice in juvenile protection, so like I've had to learn this as I go too. I'm not faulting people for not knowing it. Trying to explain why there's like long-term out-of-home placement plans being filed in your case on a certain date is because it's a requirement by law to have concurrent planning. And people are like, no, Nick's just lying. It's like, well, no, I don't have any reason. Like, you could go look that up. It's fine. The deadlines are in the statute. There's no point in lying about that. It's just there's another part of the case that's going on at the same time. And it should be resolved. Like I said, the kids' case should be resolved. Kids should be back home in less than 2 weeks. So, things could always change. Absolutely. There's another weird rumor or like misunderstanding out there. People think that I am scheduling drug tests and they're not random. That's completely retarded. I've been on random testing since it was ordered in the child custody case. Obviously, all of those tests have come back completely clean. We've done all of the tests. It's not, oh, Nick gets to schedule his tests so he can do, no, like it's random drug testing. Another misconception is that I'm paying for the random testing, because I mentioned that in state criminal court, you pay for the random testing, which is true. But here's the thing, juvenile protection isn't criminal court, and the authority of the justice system to impose random testing on you is different. So, as part of that trade-off, since it's a civil case and they're a party, not the government ruling over you in a criminal matter, even though it kind of has that same effect,